Hello, I'm Vince LoCascio. Welcome to the I'm a Busy Guy show. I'm a busy guy, and I have another busy guy here. His name is Joe Camarda. He's president of the Society Maria Santissima Laurentana of Altavilla Milicia in Chicago. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
It's an honor.
Honor is all mine.
What a great society. Well, we'll talk about the society in detail later, but what I wanted to start off is your background in coming to the United States and your upbringing in Altavilla. Your mom was born in Pittsburgh?
My mother was born in Pittsburgh back in 1914. And when she was 7 or 8 years old, her father, my grandfather, for personal reason, he decided to go back to Altavilla. And of course, he took the whole family with him. Because here he was pretty well established. He used to have a shoe manufacturer in Pittsburgh. But like I say, for personal motives and reason, mainly health, and his mother was pretty sick, and he decided to go back and take care of her mother, but and took the whole family with him.
Yes.
So, and then the kids, I think there were 6 of them. Yes, and they all grew up there, with the exception of one that stayed here. As a matter of fact, she was of age and she got married, and she never saw Italy.
Yeah.
But the other 5, they, I believe there were 5, yes. Yeah. And they grew up in Altavilla. One of my uncles, as a matter of fact, it was the second oldest, he was the oldest of the boys. He became a priest. Very, very educated priest. As a matter of fact, he was a professor at the seminary of Palermo. He taught language. He taught 5 languages.
Really? And Altavilla is a small town outside
Altavilla is a small town of, back then, about 4,500 people.
It's just outside of Palermo.
About 20 kilometers north of Palermo.
So then what? Then he decided to come back to America?
No, my grandfather never came back.
I mean, your father?
No, see, my father was a small boy then. I mean, my mother grew up there. And in a small town, everybody know each other. And my mother lived about almost like across the street from each other, from my father. And my father was a little bit, my father was only 2 years older than my mother. Mm-hmm. So, and then they became of age or something, they fell in love, and they got married. And my father back then, my grandparents, his father, then he had a lot of farms, dedicated to farming. And my father, as a little kid, the story is long, but he learned to be a barber. And my mother, my grandmother, I should say, that she had 8 boys. Out of the 8 boys, only 4 of them survived because the other one, they had, those disease of back then, different type of disease that.
Yeah, it was tough then.
Yes, and
the medicine that we have now.
Medicine, they didn't have the knowledge of. But anyway, I remember the name they used to call it. It was a certain disease they called it Espanol or whatever. But anyway, so she had 4 boys left, and no girls to help her for the house chores. Mm-hmm. So my father, then my grandfather decided to leave him home and help his mother, prepare stuff for the man that used to work for my dad, take care of all the stuff, and in the meantime, he learned how to be a barber.
So then how old were you when you came?
And my father, when he was 19, decided to get married, my mother. And when my father, then they decided what to do, so he knew he didn't want nothing to do with farms, But he opened up a spaghetti factory in our town.
In Altavilla?
In Altavilla. He was the very first spaghetti factory at that time. It was my father, it was back in 1932.
Okay, so then...
From then I was the firstborn, and then one after the other. By the time we knew, we had 6 kids already.
He was a busy guy.
Mm-hmm. So, and very busy.
Yeah.
And he dedicated his life, to the family, work and family. So then the word started, came, and a lot of things happened. And my grandfather, my mother's father, regret the fact that he took the family back to Sicily. He kind of instigate his kids. Of course, the other the other girls and decided to come, because my grandfather has 7 kids, 2 boys and 5 girls, and to come back to America. And my father, he followed suit because for a lot of reasons, things wouldn't go. My father, we never had any bad times.
Yeah.
We always had the necessary things, especially to do, when a country's in war, a lot of people are in bad shape. But thank God we didn't suffer that way, But yeah, my grandfather, he always told me, take this kid to America. That's where, create your future and this and that. And so we decided to come.
Well, which leads me to my next question is before you left, there was a Monsignor Galliano that you went to see right before you came home.
Yeah, before, because really I wasn't too enthused to come to America because I had my life. I was 18 years of age already. I had my life, I had my friends. Matter of fact, I suggested at the time to my dad, why don't you go, take the family there. If things don't go, I keep the spaghetti factory all up, running and so on. But, you got to come.
Yeah.
So anyway, and of course, I had a mixed feeling because I don't want to leave my grandparents. I don't want to leave my friends. And I remember the morning when we were leaving our town to go to Palermo, catch the boat to come here. Of course, traditionally, not just me, everybody from Altavilla go in church under the Blessed Mother picture and at the altar and pray that everything goes well, and say goodbye to the Blessed Mother. And of course, I went to, in the sacristy, say goodbye to the pastor and the chaplain there. Monsignor Galliano was the pastor. And Father Romano, he was his assistant. And Monsignor Galliano, he put his hand, on my head, my forehead, and took me. Him and I were looking at the picture of the Blessed Mother. He gave me advice. And the advice that stuck to my mind is when he says, remember, he says, you go in a very strange world, big city.
Yeah.
You're going to encounter people of all race, color, different religion. He says, in long run in your life is going to be tempted of things that you're not, not familiar with it. You're not. So he says, when you think you're in a situation with you lost, he says, always remember her.
Nice. And that picture, it's not just a picture. It's a representation of honor to Our Lady, but it's also a whole society, which is the society.
The picture of the Blessed Mother, even back then, it was a little different than the one we got here. There's so many oral legend on that, But anyway, the fact is that the picture is venerated since the since 1616 or 26, something like that. Back then,
it goes back that far.
So, and but anyway, it's got a lot of history behind, a lot of devotion, and that picture, now it's even now it's different because they had some research, some restoration, and he found something else on the bottom, and but anyway, to cut the long story short is. That the very same picture we got here, my grandfather used to have in his dining room at Altavilla Militia.
Really?
And there wasn't that many pictures like that. The one we got here, we carry in procession, here, produced. And those who got them, cherish, hold it dear to.
Well, tell us a little bit about the picture itself and the history of how Altavilla got it, because it's a very interesting story.
According to the legend, that I hear from little kid on. This picture, one stormy day, there was a ship that pirates had stolen from some city near Turkey. Everybody's got a different, spot or whatever, But, and they were going toward, the navigator, they were going toward Palermo when they encountered this bad...
The pirates?
Yeah, the pirates. And on board the ship, they had a bunch of barrels, with food and stuff like that. And this painting was a cover of one of the barrels. So one of the pirates went to reach for something in the barrel and took the cover up and saw this painting. People didn't believe in that religion, and they thought this is what bringing us bad luck. So they got that covered and the piece of wood and threw overboard. Supposedly, the way the legend tells us, and I've been hearing this all along. Now somebody else has come out different version, but people are whatever.
Well, if anybody knows, you know.
Well, I don't know. I only know what people,
Yeah.
The old timers talked about it. When I came in this country, I heard the same thing, and this picture float ashore. Ashore is supposed to be the people there from different town nearby, and they started, arguing who's going to take the picture. Well, and then they came to a point and they made a decision to get a cart pulled by ox. They got this picture on top of the cart. They gave the okay to ox, and the decision they made it was that wherever the ox goes, that's where the picture stays. And that's what happened according to that the legend.
And what were the other cities that were
Well,
the
at that
choices?
time, I don't know which city they come from, but nearby we got Sant'Anicola, we got Casteldaccia, we got Trabia, but the ones that are real close by is Sant'Anicola, Casteldaccia. Then there's Porticello, it's right by, on the bay, and like the Gulf. But anyway, and Bagheria. But anyway, the fact of the matter, the way they're telling us that the hawks went to this particular spot, and where they stopped, there was nothing there. So temporarily, overnight, they put this picture in one of the chapel, San Isidoro, whatever. I believe that's what it was. But anyway, then the next morning, when the people, they started waking up, and then they went to look for this, go to this picture and do their prayer and everything. The picture wasn't there. So then I was told that they were looking, hunting for this picture, and they found what we call a Belvedere now. That's where the church is now. That's where the picture was in. That's where they decided to erect the church, which now it's a beautiful. It's not big church, but it's the way it's done is very beautiful, and it's was elected to a sanctuary in honor of the Blessed Mother.
In the picture, there's stairs that go up to it.
Yeah, well,
Behind
the picture is up.
altar?
The altar, when they built the altar, is right behind the altar. They have stairs on this side and this side. The picture is right above the tabernacle and the wall. Because the tabernacle is by the altar and in the wall. There's a niche there. That's where the picture is.
Can we show a copy of
I don't know if I have it in here, but.
Well, not the stairs, but this is the picture here, yeah?
Oh, the picture.
Yeah.
This is the picture. Yeah.
Let me show that.
So we got a
You can
better
see that
one.
without glare. But that's, so then the history continues on.
See, matter of fact, after so many years, that, speaking of that, when they came here, we go, like for instance, this year we celebrate 110 years. But according to the people, oral history over here, they tell me, some of the old timers that I encountered here, that I met here, some tell me, we started in 1895. Somebody say 1890, 1885. But the fact of the matter is that we go according when the society was chartered with the state of Illinois and the Cook County, and it was in June, I believe, 8, whatever it was, in 1900. So, in 1905, St. Philip Benizi was built.
That was a church.
They built a church
in Chicago.
Before they did it on their own, whatever celebration they did it, in front of the house they built a little altar, and 9 days before the feast day, which is the 8th of September, the Nativity of the Blessed Mother, they used to congregate the Milishoti and friends, they used to have the rosary. And then the day of the 8th, they used to carry the picture around the block and chant and sing.
Tell us what is the Milishota? Because we're called, if you're from there, they refer to you as a Milishota.
Milishota is somebody come from that town.
And what is that? Where does that derive from?
Well, that
from
that
what you
part,
understand.
Melajor, the name of the town is Altavilla, Milija. Milija, Altavilla, we got a lot of Altavilla, but
Means high
Milija.
village.
And at the time, I was told that was the count of whatever, baron, the count, whatever it was, of the that town. The Milija, I believe, don't quote me precisely, but I believe it comes from a Greek emperor. It's a Greek Greek name. It was, I believe it's called Mercure.
Okay.
And that's how it,
So that's why now, if you say, "Hey, he's a Melajor," that
Melajor
means he's
is the
from
name
there.
of the town.
But they refer to that as
it's
a
like
person.
it's like, for instance, the people come first Bagheria, it's Bagheriodo.
Okay.
Or from Casteldaccio. Oh, that's easy. We say it in Sicilian. Or different, for instance, for Trabbia. Oh, Trabbiodo.
So you come here now, and you find the Church St. Felpanizi, and when you stepped into the church, tell us.
Well, when I came in 1951, after about a couple of weeks, I was in the city. I was getting kind of restless because I'm not used to be cooped up in a house,
Yeah.
And
Well, you're fresh here from
yes,
Sicily.
I didn't know where to go. I didn't know the language. I didn't know where to go. I couldn't even walk down the street, and But then once I started, some of the friends that were here before me, they came and picked me up. I think it was the second Sunday I was here. As a matter of fact, during the week it was my first job. And the second Sunday that I spent here, they took me to church.
St. Philip's.
St. Philip. And when I got there, I still had that first look in my eyes when I walked in the St. Philip Church, because I show you a picture of this beautiful church. And when I look up, I saw the picture of the Blessed Mother. I fell home. That's when I started to feel a little more.
Yeah.
Then the following summer thing, and I used to go to church. Then I knew how to take the bus and go to the church. And every Sunday, take the bus on Sheffield. I used to live close by to Sheffield and on Oakdale. And I used to take the bus and go see the Mass and come back again. That's where I started getting seeing some of the Melajordi that they were here before me, some old timers. Because, some recognized me because they knew my grandfather. I look like my grandfather and all that. Then the first feast that I saw here was the following September, because I came in November. The following September, and that's where I got, I really admire the old timers of what they were doing here in honor of the Blessed Mother.
And the president then of the society was Joseph
Joe
Gagliardo?
Yes.
And he...
Well, he was the one. He saw me. I was standing there, follow all the function and everything that they were doing and everything. And he kind of spotted me. He was in Altavilla a couple of times visiting, because he had his mother at that time living and some of his sisters. And he looked at me and he says, "Aren't you a Melajordo?" That's what we call him. "You a Melajordo?" Yes. I said, "I think I know you. You so-and-so's grandson?" Yes, "Your father is a Benedetto." That's right. Because my father had the spaghetti factory there. They used to come over and get pasta by us. He says, "Aren't you?" "Yes." He said, "What are you doing here? You belong here." I said, "Well, I just got here."
So then he, if you want to use the word, recruited you to join the society.
Well, he was
Not that you had needed any convincing.
I didn't need
You wanted.
no pushing or nothing. It's just that he happened to spot me and said, "You know, I know I belong there." As a matter of fact, the very same, the following day was the last day of the feast. I got an application at the time. I filled it up, presented there, and then what was it, not even about a month later, because, we got procedures to follow. And I was accepted, and then the following month I went in to take the oath of members. And I started because I grew up with this. I used to help my grandfather back in your country.
The society's
My
back
father,
there as well.
my mother's father. He was the treasurer of the sanctuary there, because then our church there became a sanctuary. He was the treasurer until he died, over 45, 50 years.
So then you started to step up. You became the assistant financial secretary.
Well, when I joined the lodge, I remember the first time and that I walked in the lodge that took the oath of membership, and you know, it was all the members there. Nice group too. Some of the members, you know, they're doing with my grandfather. Matter of fact, this particular member, Mr. Mike Muscarello, after you got sworn in, the meeting was over. He come up and he says, "Are you?" He says, "Who?" He says, "What's your Camarda?" I said, "Well, actually, it's only one Camarda family."
Yeah.
You know, he says, "Mr. Saunders, that was my grandfather." And, you know, he embraced me because he knew my grandfather when he was a little kid. He says, "You know, your grandfather was my brother's godfather."
Really?
You know, and my grandfather. And we started, you know, that's how it started, you know. And then was it the year after they had election, Mr. Mike Muscarello, he was at that time he was the financial secretary. And this gentleman, S.S.L.S.A.M, was his assistant. And the man, Mr. Muscarello, he was up in age and he was sick. And he had retired. He couldn't do what he... And that time they promoted him and S.S.L.S.A.M as a financial secretary, and they appointed me as they elected me as assistant financial secretary.
And then vice president.
Then they asked me to be vice president. That's something that I was there only for one purpose.
And?
Be with the majority and be part of the group that honor the Blessed Mother.
What great devotion.
The Blessed Mother is a Blessed Mother. It's only one Blessed Mother, but with so many titles and so many parents, you know what I mean? And I grew up with that, and I just want to be part of them, you know, and carry on my devotion to the Blessed Mother.
Now, the society still exists in Altavilla.
Oh, well, that's...
I mean,
oh, sure.
it goes back.
Oh, yeah. They still got the Fratelland. They got the same system as it was back when I was there. You know, it's, of course, now things are a little different, you know. And I get a kick out of our own Melchioda when they come here to participate in the feast. Like this year, we had the mayor. And,
the mayor of Altavilla visited.
Yeah, the mayor of Altavilla was here. The president of the council, town, was here with the others, you know. There were about 9 of them. And matter of fact, they brought with them entertainment from our hometown, you know, part of our hometown, and they were beautiful.
Now, how does that work? Because they have the feast the same time.
Well,
Or they delay it by a week? Or
no,
we
no,
delay
no.
by a week?
You see, over there, the feast is always 6, 7, and 8 of September. And
you said you believe they believe that's the feast of...
what they did, they came here, and they got there the last day of the feast. So they participated in the main celebration in honor of the Blessed Mother. They all got there.
And, I mean, the feast is the whole pinnacle of the whole year
Yes.
of what the society's about. And that started in Chicago. It was held at St. Philip's
Yes.
first.
In Chicago, I would say when the dignitary, this mayor and from our town was at the show, you know, they were impressed how we still do things the old-fashioned.
Well, 100 years later in Chicago, right?
Yes, but I mean, we still do the old-fashioned way, you know. The only thing we got different, sometimes I have some of the old-timers, I remember the old neighborhood and this and that, we used to be so beautiful. Sure, it was beautiful because over there was in the street with all the buildings around. The surrounding was different. The atmosphere was different. And I know, but here we open field, you know, in the parking lot.
Well, I mean, it's gone through some changes. It was,
but what we do here, religiously hasn't changed nothing.
yeah. Well, that's not going to change.
You know.
That'll be the same
And
forever.
like here we started in 1900. You know, and the only thing different we have is the area.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're kind of running short on time, so let me, if we can, and
Sure.
just review with you the history that it went through. I mean, because first it was at St. Philip's. The last one was in 1961. And then it went to Harwood Heights
Harwood Heights, we had a beautiful, huge crowd.
at St. Rosalie's.
And Father, I wish I could remember his last name right now.
Conrad?
Father Conrad, see, you remember. Father Conrad.
I did my homework.
Okay, I'm glad you did, because, you know, Father Conrad, he was very happy. Because we went there with the intention to be our next home from
To be
St.
there,
Philip.
Yeah.
But being that the area at that time, you know, there wasn't too many Italians who live in that area. And, you know, our crowd requires a lot of
Yeah, we were stepping on the lawns and
stepping on the lawn and the bushes and this and that, and sometimes some of the people, because that time we didn't carry, we didn't go to the store and get bottled water. You know what I mean? But anyway, so they knock on the door. Could you please give me a little bit of water for my kid? And people are not used to that. Yeah. So, but anyway, the following year, some of the parishioners they gather, small towns. The people run the town. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they went to the mayor. They went to Father Conrad, and so that's so that we moved to another daughter of members of S.S.L.A.M, Melchioda. Her name was Muscarello, Francesca Muscarello. She had friendship with the Prisker family. They owned the land where the High Regents is.
In Rosemont.
In Rosemont.
So it was there, because I want to make sure that we cover what it's doing now. So it was on the land site, so to speak, where the Hyatt was. But then your brother-in-law got it to...
Well, what happened is because there went Our Lady of Hope, then from there, but that was because of the Prisker family decided to build a High Regents in there, and we were without a spot. So and my brother, he was a young member, and he always used to tell me, if you ever got problem, to get a place to say having the feast, he says, I know some people. And
this was at the S.S.L.A.M shopping
and that center. Was because my brother Carl is from Berwyn himself.
And it's still there today.
Oh yeah, he lives there.
In the feast, I mean, it's so great. There's the attendance is like what, 30 to 40,000 people.
Oh, more than that. On Sunday, you can. Well, throughout the feast, it's. I mean, I don't want to give any numbers, but according to the policemen and everything, they give you bigger number. But the fact of the matter is even now, after so many years, because we don't have the feast just the sake of food, have a good time, and
it's religious.
Our main purpose is honor the Blessed Mother, the Mass, and everything. And I see, especially on Sunday morning when we start the morning procession, all the members and all the faithful line up in procession. Followed by the field mass, it's moving.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
beautiful.
I
and then all 5 days, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I sit in front of the temporary chapel there, and I see the old faces, and I see a lot of new faces coming in.
Well, we got to wind up here. We could sit and talk for hours because you got so much to share. But people want to find out about the society. The lodge is on Lawrence Avenue.
The lodge, we have our headquarters, 5854 West Lawrence Avenue. In 1989 or 91, I think we dedicated because there was an empty spot of land there when we bought the building. And my desire was, when we could, to build a chapel there, which we did. We got a beautiful chapel there. And it's a replica of the main altar where the Blessed Mother is. And up many years ago, because now the church is all redone and the altar is altogether different, but we still have the replica of many, many years ago.
Well, on behalf of all the Miller Schultz, everybody owes you a huge, huge thank you for carrying on the tradition, and you made us all proud.
Nobody going to have to thank me. I do what I got to do, but the thing is,
and I got a little something for you. A little Vino Rosso.
I invite you, that you're part of Melchioda, and all the people who listen to this to help us carry on this beautiful tradition in honor of the Blessed Mother. And of course, I'm proud of the Melchioda. We've got a lot to be proud, and you're part of it.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.